man. You fucking suck, man.
I've made more money on bonuses.
You're a kid crusher, bro. You padded your record against B-level competition.
I made $200,000 in bonuses.
You've been fucking congratulations. Congratulations. Don't break yourself on the ass, bro.
Well, you're welcome.
What can you tell you saying right now?
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Anthony Smith, I want to ask you, I mean, your rise has been pretty incredible to watch. Now
I met you at XS, right? XS, we chatted. Yeah.
Going through your head, your emotions is now.
Let's make sure.
You're on the big stage.
You on Rogan too the other night. Yeah, cool. Huh? Who Rogan? He was toxic.
That's it. It's been like 2 hours.
Yeah. Huh? Maybe sometime. When it's right, when time is right.
Yeah.
I mean, Dana and Trump are two peas in a pod, man. They are. They fucking. If you told me they had a timeshare and saw each other every week, I would not be surprised. They tweet the same. They hate the same.
They hate the same.
The one's the same guy with the shittier haircut. They're exactly the same.
That one has.
They are identical. They are. I would imagine they're Eskimo brothers. I bet a lot of money on that.
I would see that happening.
Yes,
for sure.
Now, also, we'll start with the obvious. Conor Khabib, at what point did you know this was actually cemented and was going to happen?
We knew the day before the press conference.
And you filmed the video, and I guess it was very limited on a need-to-know basis?
What do you mean?
Because it didn't leak. Like, that video got shown, and nobody knew that was happening.
Yeah. No, it didn't leak. It's a tough thing to do in this business, but we did it.
Yeah, I think that's a very tough matchup for Conor. I mean, I respect. He has to take it to fight back for the title, but I really respect him for taking this as his first fight back in 2 years.
See, and I think it's funny to say this because, you know, of how popular he is and what a huge star he is, but I think Conor McGregor is one of the most underrated fighters in the UFC. Every time Conor McGregor comes out to fight somebody new, and it's a wrestler or it's whatever, you know, this is the fight that Conor's going to lose. He said that he would knock out Jose Aldo the way he did it and as fast. He said he would do it in the first round. And if you look at Jose Aldo's career, what a stud that guy is, what he's accomplished, and again, people were counting him out again. He took all of those huge shots, you know, that night from Jeremy Stevens, right? Takes and then finishes him with a body shot in the first round.
Incredible.
A lot of people picked him to lose against Eddie Alvarez because of Eddie Alvarez's style in wrestling.
That's right.
And you look how he looked there. When Chad Mendes, you know, leading up to the fight when he ended up fighting Chad Mendes, you know, Chad Mendes was a wrestler. Everybody believed that he would do that. Then after he won, everybody said, well, Chad Mendes didn't have enough time to train for it. And the list goes on and on. I think because Conor is so popular and his personality and everything, I think he's completely underrated.
Well, I said that before, that I would actually be tempted to take Conor in a first round knockout, because I think that as the fight goes on, it's tougher because Khabib is going to get a hold of him sooner or later. And no disrespect to Chad Mendes, but Khabib is not Chad Mendes. But I do think Conor has a shot in the first or second round. As the fight goes on, though, I think that becomes very tough.
Yeah, and this is one of those fights that I believe if Khabib runs at Conor the way he does a lot of these other guys to get the takedown, he's in big trouble. And I think that if Conor gets underneath Khabib, he's in big trouble.
Yeah, it's a great point.
I'm also excited about hearing about the styles make fights.
Officially announced Khabib Conor, UFC 229.
Weird. It's like someone guaranteed that. I mean, it's biggest fight ever.
Las
UFC
Vegas.
history. Biggest fight ever. The only thing that surprised me that's in
Las Vegas?
Yeah. I thought they were going to try and do Russia, but when you do in Russia, you can't
the time.
You can't control things. There's a lot of variables there. So they're doing that fight with Mark Hunt there first. I think they're going to try and navigate their way through that and then maybe see what happens there. And I like that there's no world tour for Khabib, Conor.
Yeah.
We don't need a world tour. This is a phenomenal fight. Obviously, give my breakdowns. The fight gets closer. Phenomenal fight. Ridiculous fight. So happy that this came to fruition. So happy.
And you said it's going to be the biggest, right?
Be the biggest UFC ever, yeah. Mm-hmm. Hands down, biggest ever. You got to put a few things together and make this equation the biggest ever. You got Conor McGregor coming off the long layoff. He's still more famous, more in the news than anyone else. He's coming off the hype of the dolly throw. He's also coming off the hype of the Mayweather fight, which was one of the biggest fights ever, if not the biggest fight ever, when you include international sales. So you put all that together, and then he's fighting a man in Khabib Nurmagomedov who's a complete fucking stylistic nightmare for him, undefeated, Dagestanian fucking monster, destroys dudes. And when you put all those things together, it equals the biggest fight in UFC history. And despite freaking Khabib being a nightmare stylistic for Conor, I have Conor winning this fight. Well, you're Conor Dick Rider. Yeah, shut up. I think with his movement, his movement, his striking. When I look at the way these two athletes are, and I look at the movement of Conor, his angles, the quickness of his hands, the dynamics that he has on his feet, and I look at the ways he can win compared to the ways Khabib can win, I think Khabib will get him down. I think Conor will get back up. I think it's a matter of time before Khabib starts to get tired from the takedowns and Conor starts to let those hands loose. Because I don't think Khabib can finish Conor. He can't knock him out. He's really not a submission artist. And I think that only plays into Conor's hands. But we'll see as the fight gets closer. And remember, Conor's an underdog, slight underdog in this fight with the UFC odds. Last time Conor was underdog was against Jose Aldo.
He's a plus 145, and Khabib's minus 175.
Better bet on it soon, because the public's going to jump on that McGregor. That's the way it goes. I won't be surprised whatever happens. I'm more surprised they're fighting. I'll tell you what, I'll be surprised, more surprised if there's no complications with weight cuts or anything like that.
That's what I'm scared of, too.
Not on Conor's end.
No. Obviously, Khabib.
Mm-hmm. I'm so excited, man.
Now, Eddie Alvarez had talked about fighting out his contract against Poirier. Now, he lost that fight. What's his contract status, and do you guys really want to keep him? I mean, he's another guy who's never in a boring or shitty fight.
Yeah, no, I like Eddie Alvarez. I like him personally, and I like him professionally. And he's at an age now where he needs to make some decisions for his family and for what will probably be the last contract he signs for the rest of his career. Right. So, I'm in a place. If Eddie wants to go somewhere else and try it, I'm cool with that. But if Eddie wants to stay, I'd keep him here too. I told him that. I told him, listen, if you want to finish your career with me, I would like that. And if you want to finish your career somewhere else, I have no problem with that either, man. When guys get to the point where it's the last contract they'll ever sign, I understand.
You understand that they're going to do what's best for financially, sure.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, what we're looking for here are young guys that want to be world champions, young guys that know they can be a world champion in the UFC, or girls that know they can be a world champion in the UFC. And if you feel that you can't be, and you feel that there's a better decision that you could make at this point in your career for the last contract you'll ever sign, I absolutely understand that.